welcome to the Leaderonomics show. I'd like to welcome Vishen Lakhiani. Tell us a bit about yourself and how you ended up with this organization called Mindvalley.
Well, I grew up in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. When I was around 19 years old, my parents sent me to the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, Michigan, for my education. I majored in computer engineering. There I met the guy who would ultimately end up being the co-founder of Mindvalley, a German student by the name of Michael Reining. Mike and I became friends. We shared a house together for most of our college years. After college, we sort of drifted apart, and we were both working for different jobs. He went on to work for the Boston Consulting Group. He ended up getting an MBA from Stanford. I ended up working for a non-profit. I ended up starting a couple of small businesses, all of which ultimately failed. And somehow, when we were around 26 years old, we decided that we were tired of working for other people and seeing amazing ideas that we come up with, making other people wealthy. And we certainly had that itch to start our own company. That's how Mindvalley started.
You know, you talk a little bit about failing. Many leadership stories start with real failures. You know, what's your take on leadership?
My definition of leadership was basically this. It came from Eisenhower. A leader is someone who makes people do things you want done because they want to do it. Right now, I see this as a rather primitive idea of leadership. To me, leadership is far more than that. It's recognizing that every individual has within them the power to be as powerful, influential, brilliant, and magnificent as you, as the leader. Your job as the leader is to simply remind them of this power and show them that ability that they have within them. And that's how I've changed my definition of leadership. Right now, in my company, what I do is I empower people.
How did that change come about from that original definition into this new definition?
When I started Mindvalley, what I found was the initial first few years, I was basically running a team of employees who basically did stuff I asked them to do. Me and Mike, we were the guys coming up with the vision, moving the company forward. As time went on, now typically when you're running a company, you go through one of the fastest learning processes of your life. I learned more in 1 month at Mindvalley than I do in maybe a semester of college. As these rapid learnings happen, more and more insights and pieces of this puzzle started coming into our head. One of the biggest pieces of the puzzle that fell in our head very early on, this was when we were around 2-3 years old, was Michael Gerber's book, The E-Myth. And in that book, he talks about why many businesses fail. They fail because the business owner gets so caught up in the day-to-day managing of the business that he doesn't have time to automate, to build processes, and to free up his own time. Now, that book was like mind-shattering to us because we realized that we've been working for our business rather than having our business work for us. That started us on this, over the last 2 years, this major trend of reorganizing and adding processes to automate the business. Now, we got so good at processes that pretty much everything in Mindvalley right now is automated. We invest a lot in technology. I delegate everything. And when I started freeing up my day-to-day responsibilities from, doing nitty-gritty stuff such as accounting, proofreading, to actually simply coming up with a vision and helping the business grow, my style of leadership also changed. I was no longer cracking the whip on people, making sure they met their deadlines. My goal was to paint a picture, a very big, bold picture, and then to motivate people to reach that picture. Now, a couple of things we found we found a couple of things that helped us move ahead leaps and bounds in terms of people's performance and in terms of growing the company. Now, as I said earlier, my definition of leadership changed to be this: recognizing how powerful your employee or your followers are and reminding them of how powerful they are. So this is how we do it in Mindvalley. We call the concept core identity. So recently, for example, we had a person from Venezuela join our company. His name was Carlos, and he comes with a background in customer support. He used to do customer support for a company called Skype, which everyone has heard of. So we brought in Carlos to be head of our customer support department. For the first couple of months, that's all Carlos was doing, customer support. Now, the problem with that is you give someone a box. Carlos becomes the customer support person, and everything he does fits in that box. Now, my job as a leader, like I said, is to remind Carlos of how much more powerful he can be. So what we do is, and the concept again is called co-identity, we sit down with Carlos and we try to figure out what his dreams are as an individual. Now, Carlos told me that his dream as an individual was to be one of the leading thought experts on customer care and customer passion in South America. So what we do with that is we expand Carlos's box. Carlos went from being customer support, we allowed him to come up with his own title. So we expand the size of the box.
Right.
His new role became community delight specialist.
Fantastic.
From from support, we turned it to community.
Right.
We expanded his role, so he no longer had a team of people answering customers' emails, but now he was looking at and investing in new technology to allow customers and raving fans to help other customers. We go from support to community.
Fantastic.
Okay, and then we go from customer support to customer delight, because again, support is a narrower box. It's answering questions, it's making sure a product that you ship arrives in time. Customer delight is a whole different ball game. It's making sure your customers are so excited about what it is that you're doing that they tell your friends about the company, and that they come back over and over again to buy from you. So again, we take someone who has an ordinary role in a small box, customer support, and we expand that into something bigger, community delight. And now Carlos sees himself as someone who is way greater in potential. He sees his task as much more magnificent in its role, and as a result, he starts pushing, doing more, and generating more revenue for the company.
Nice. Okay.
So that's how we do it at Mindvalley.
Okay, that's great.
Every
great to see that.
normal role turns into something magnificent.
The core of talent management, right? Getting employees to fulfill their potential. What is your view of talent management?
It's basically helping someone recognize the power that it is within them, the power that is within them, and helping them unleash that power. We try to identify what their long-term goals are. In the case of this guy I spoke about, Carlos, his goal was to be a thought leader in customer fashion. We have other people who want to be a world-class copywriter, or world-class social media marketing expert, or world-class product designer. We help them identify what that big vision is, and we give them the tools, the software, the support, the training to help them get there.
Do you think it's important for technology to be used in this space in terms of attracting and recruiting talent?
Absolutely. Let's talk about attracting talent first. The way most companies do it right now is pretty much 10 years, it's a process that's maybe 10 years old. It started with the dawn of the internet. You would find a job website such as JobStreet or Monster.com or Hot Jobs. You'd put up an ad and you'd hope that people flock to you. We stopped doing this. We found that the quality of people we got from these massive job websites was extremely poor. So we had to come up with more innovative ways to attract top quality talent. And remember, the problem with these job websites is you tend to attract people who are currently looking for jobs. But many of the smartest, brightest people out there already have jobs. And our goal at Mindvalley, the goal of any entrepreneur, would be to get these talented people to re-examine their current job and realize that what you have to offer them is so much better. What we found is that the smartest talent tend to know the smartest talent. So we recruit talent from our own employees. Our employees would recommend friends or siblings whom they want to bring into the Mindvalley family. The quality of talent that we get in our office in Kuala Lumpur is mind-blowing. Right now we have 25 people, but these people don't just come from the local city. They come from 15 different countries. We literally recruit people and attract people from all around the world. And pretty much everyone in Mindvalley, at any other company, they would be one of the key star performers. At Mindvalley, everyone is a star performer. Now, how do we attract brilliant people from all around the world?